What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Ali kicked me upstairs. I'm working from home this week, so I'm in the bedroom. This week we're at Valley MX, which is a brand new track in Wisconsin. Had a great time. Weather was definitely a little cold, but made for good track conditions, and the rain sort of held off, so we had an awesome sold out class. Very productive day. I was looking for new locations to do these classes at, so if you have any recommendations or you know any track owners that may be interested, just shoot me an email or a comment below and let me know what you have in mind. Next week I'll be at Field of Dreams in New Jersey, then headed from there to Evansville MX in Pennsylvania, headed from there directly to Arcola MX in Louisiana, and then headed right from Louisiana back to Milford Riders in Connecticut. So quite the busy schedule coming up. This year I'm pretty much booked out, but for 2021 I'd love to be able to explore the country a bit and get to all your guys' local tracks. Just a reminder to click the link below to my Patreon account and make sure you guys subscribe to that. Only $2 a month, and we have a pretty awesome group of guys that are involved, constantly asking questions, sending messages, new features that you guys can send in your riding footage for me to publicly review. Of course, if I have your permission to do so. Giveaways, a bunch of other cool stuff, and only $2 a month, so click the link below for that. Otherwise guys, subscribe to the channel and enjoy the video. With the tilt up stuff, we almost want to approach that as if it's a rough, beat up track. Standing up gives you that control. Let the bike do what it needs to under you, especially on the 50s, on the 60s, on the 85s, the small bikes that aren't going to be as happy with these clumps of dirt. Let the bike do its thing. If your front end hits the clump and wants to do this, you can let it do that a little bit. If the back end wants to dance around, let it dance around a little bit. Get that butt to the front part of the seat, upper body nice and vertical, both elbows up so we can remain squared to the motorcycle and we are not falling inside and outside of the bike. I want you guys to form, let's call this the inside line. We could even make it exit a little bit more tight. And then let's get like a middle outside line going. So don't be afraid to end up and try and make a line out of this fresh tilled up stuff. All it'll take is 5-6 bikes hitting it and you'll start to develop something that you can get the tires to bite into. Once it develops a little bit better, I'll go more in depth on exactly kind of what we should be doing. Gear selection, you guys had a pretty good sense of it over there. Probably third gear in the straightaway or so. Get your 1 or 2 downshifts for the turn so that you don't need that clutch to be nice and smooth through the turn. Take a look at the track. Are there any lines formed? You know why that is? Consistency. Everyone is doing something different every time you go through. Now I understand it's a little bit difficult when there is nothing formed, but a lot of this is just due to lack of game plan. Like 547, watch you, Steve, right? Watch you come through one time and just like exploding dirt everywhere. It sounded cool, it sounded like you're going fast. But if I said go do that 10 times in a row, heck no, you can't do that 10 times in a row. But then the other ones, you were a little bit more cool, calm, collected. Even same thing with you. You're pretty technical and slower about it, which is good so you can be in control. But every time you went through, you looked different and you were in a different spot on the track. Maybe you were exploring and trying to find a line. My personal technique when the track isn't worked in yet like this, you need to use those visual aids on the entry. So get yourself set up in a line to where you know where you're going to be at. Get your downshifts in the same spot, get your braking in the same spot so that everything on your entry is basically exactly the same. That's step one. And a lot of you guys didn't have step one figured out yet, so you were coming in at different speeds, you were in different gear some laps, you were dragging the rear brake sometimes into the turn, sometimes you weren't. We need that to all be the same. That's first. Secondly, when we get here, lock your eyes onto a spot, look past it, but be smooth. Try to hit that line. If you guys probably had a chance to do 7 to 10 passes, I would have done 2 or 3 in a row in one spot in the exact same line, even if that line altered a little bit, just to try to form something. No clutch, and as smooth as you can, as stable as you can, centered on the bike. And even with just one pass through on these bigger bikes, you should start to form something that would resemble a line. But if you're coming in and just skidding, locking the brakes up, accelerating all out at once, and doing it differently every time, then the track's just gonna look like this. At least you ate up the dirt, so for group 2, they don't have to ride on the big clumps, but you certainly didn't form any lines yet. This is a good opportunity to practice your braking. It's not super rough. It's very, very tacky on the entry, so letting off the gas, getting on those brakes, the bike is going to want to stop fairly quick, which is nice. When we brake, attack position, first and foremost, have to be in it. If you guys are sitting down, if you guys are slowly making the transition to the front of the bike, that's dangerous. As soon as it starts to get roughed up, you're not going to be able to get away with that. So get it in a strong, stable, neutral, low attack position, and then we can get on the brakes. When we hit the brakes, it's front and rear, always together, even on the 50, even on the 65, on the small bikes. I want to get you guys in the habit of using both at the same time. And for those of you that have clutches, no clutch. No clutch at all when you downshift, no clutch at all when you brake. Now let's talk sitting position a little bit. Can I get, Steve, you want to just pull your bike up here? If I were to teach my kid how to ride from day one, I would teach him to never take his feet off the pegs ever under any circumstance. Just leave your feet on the pegs the whole way. I know not many people teach that. Maybe nobody teaches that. But I tell you what, in the next 5 to 7 years, when you see the new wave of kids coming in, 80 to 90% of the time, you're going to see those kids with their feet in the pegs. Watch Eli Tomac. And Tomac's one of the older guys now. Watch, probably my favorite, Chase Sexton. Watch Ken Roxon. Watch Cincerillo. Watch Ty Masterpool in the 250 class. He came and showed up at Redbud for the 2 Redbud races. Hole shotted 3 out of the 4 motos, so he got a lot of TV time. Go watch those motos back. His feet were on the pegs the whole time. And then on the contrary, you watch a guy like, I think Carson Mumford. He's just moved up to pros on the Geico Honda. He got a good start in one of the motos, but was constantly making mistakes because he was trying to put his foot out for the turn, and I'm sure he knows better, but he's just not as good at it yet. He would dab the foot for the turn, and then as soon as that foot would dab, it would rip back to here. And within 2 laps, he was getting like TV time because they were filming guys in front and behind him, but I was just watching him because his legs kept getting ripped off the bike. Within 2 laps, he had made probably 10 mistakes where he almost got ripped off the bike entirely. And you mirror that next to a kid probably the same age, 17, 18 years old, Masterpool, the feet were on the pegs the whole way, so it's simplifying things and it's really limiting those mistakes. Does anybody know, this isn't rhetorical, why would we put our foot out for this turn?
Weight the front tire.
Okay, so that's what people would say. Counterweight, counterbalance, to weight the front tire. I'm sure there's some teachers out there that will get mad at me for saying this. That's not what your inside foot does. It's not. Explain to me this. If I were to put my inside foot out for a turn, if it was truly used to weight the front tire, why am I sitting further forward when I put my foot out for a turn than I do when I sit around the turn with both feet on the pegs? That doesn't make any sense. Elbows basically 90 degrees. Tighten your abs. Tighten your core so that we can stay centered. I know this sounds odd, but when you go through a turn, you should be tightening your stomach so much that it's almost like bracing as if somebody's going to punch you in the gut, is what you should be doing when you go through a turn. If not, what you're going to find is that your upper body is going to be pretty flimsy and falling inside and outside of the bike. If there's anything that you guys will be able to pick up on when I ride, is when you watch me ride, I don't really fall inside of the bike that often. I'm very, very strong and stable here. Sure, you'll see me dab my foot every once in a while, make mistakes, but they're minor because I'm so strong and stable here and here. I don't allow this inside elbow to drop, I don't allow the outside elbow to drop, and I keep my abs and my core tight and centered. If you do decide to put your foot up for the turn, which I'm okay with, but I'm picky about it, I want that foot so high and tight that you are either making contact with your front fender or getting pretty darn close. I don't want to see that foot out here probing the ground. I don't want to see it down here. I don't want to see it up, but with your toe out. Even those of you that can touch well enough, put your foot up against the leg up against the shroud and point your toe outward. Now, it's kind of hard to hold that leg up, isn't it? Now point your toe in as far as you can point it in. Naturally, it locks your knee into the shroud and it enables you to really grip with that inner thigh to hold the leg here. I can hold my leg here for quite a bit. If I point my toe out, I could probably only hold it there for about 20 or 30 seconds. And group 2, pay attention to when they make the mistakes, what causes it. He's sitting really far back. Not bad, you can be a gear taller. Not bad. Sitting too far back, sit forward. Ends up when he's out of the turn, he starts far back and he ends up really far back. Now 547's probably doing it the best, but he is a little bit lazy still with the inside foot.